Hello and welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's July 14th, 2022, and this is episode 88. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my blog, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. Well, we got 4 movies opening in theaters tomorrow on July 15th. First up is Where the Crawdads Sing. This is a drama from Sony. It's directed by Olivia Newman, and it's based on the best-selling novel by Delia Owens. This is a captivating mystery. It's the story of Kaya, an abandoned girl who raised herself to adulthood in the dangerous marshlands of North Carolina. For years, rumors of the quote-unquote Marsh Girl haunted Barkley Cove, isolating the sharp and resilient Kaya from her community. Drawn to 2 young men from town, Kaya opens herself to a new and startling world. But when one of them is found dead, she is immediately cast by the community as the main suspect. As the case unfolds, the verdict as to what actually happened becomes increasingly unclear, threatening to reveal the many secrets that lay within the marsh. Daisy Edgar Jones plays Kaya. The film also stars Taylor John Smith, Harris Dickinson, and Michael Hyatt. Where the Crawdads Sing is rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association for sexual content and some violence, including a sexual assault. Next up is Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. This is an animated family comedy from Paramount. It's directed by Chris Bailey, Mark Kostler, sorry Mark if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, and Rob Minkoff. Just as a note, Rob Minkoff is an animated director who did a lot of stuff for Disney. He is co-director of The Lion King, among other things, over at Disney. Now he's working on this project that's at Paramount. This animated comedy is about a hard-on-his-luck hound dog named Hank. Hank is voiced by Michael Cera. And Hank finds himself in a town full of cats who need a hero to defend them from a ruthless villain who is voiced by Ricky Gervais. With help from a reluctant teacher who is voiced by none other than Samuel L. Jackson. To train him, our underdog must assume the role of town samurai and team up with villagers to save the day. The only problem is the cats hate dogs. So there you've got the setup. Watching the trailer for this looks like it's definitely made for younger kids, but maybe they've thrown in enough adult comedy that would make it interesting for grown-ups too. I was a little doubtful of the project, although they brought in a great voice cast. It's got Mel Brooks, George Takei, Gabriel Iglesias, Michelle Yeoh. So anyway, maybe it's going to be funny. We'll have to see. And again, with the Rob Minkoff factor, it could help elevate it too. Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank is rated PG by the Motion Picture Association for action, violence, rude and suggestive humor, and some language. Next up is The Gray Man. This is an action drama from Netflix, and it's directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. This is one of those movies from Netflix that's going to screening in theaters, again, starting tomorrow, July 15th. And then we'll be streaming exclusively on Netflix on July 22nd. So if you want to see this, it looks like it has got potential to be a big screen kind of experience. The Gray Man is not only the title, but it's this character. He's a CIA operative, and this character is played by Ryan Gosling. This character was plucked from a federal penitentiary and recruited by his handler, who's played by Billy Bob Thornton, And this dude was an agency sanctioned merchant of death. But now the tables have turned, and the Ryan Gosling character is the target, being hunted across the globe by a psycho adversary who's played by Chris Evans, who is a former cohort at the CIA and who will stop at nothing to take him out. So we got this battle going on here between characters played by Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, and with Chris Evans playing the bad guy. Anna de Armas also plays an agent who is looking out for Ryan Gosling. This movie also stars Renee Jean Page, we already mentioned Billy Bob Thornton, and Alfred Woodard. And it's also based on a book called The Gray Man by Mark Greaney. This looks like it could be, a really cool action movie. So I think it's got some potential. Fingers crossed. Let's hope it's good. The Gray Man is rated PG-13 by the Motion Picture Association for intense sequences of strong violence and strong language. Finally opening up tomorrow is Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. This is a comedy drama from Focus Features. It's directed by Anthony Fabian, and this looks like a charming movie. It's an enchanting tale of a seemingly ordinary British housekeeper whose dream it is to own a couture Christian Dior gown. And this dream takes her on an extraordinary adventure in Paris. Leslie Manville plays Mrs. Harris. Also in the cast are Jason Isaacs, Anna Chancellor, and Rose Williams. And as I said, this looks like it could be a really, cute, charming film, and kind of like anti-summer action movie programming from Focus Features. So let's hope it's good. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is rated PG by the Motion Picture Association for suggestive material, language, and smoking. Next Friday, July 22nd, there's just one big movie that's opening up, and it's Nope. This is a horror film from Universal Pictures, which is written and directed by Jordan Peele. And, Jordan Peele, they say that in the press materials that he disrupted and redefined modern horror with his film Get Out. And I do think that's true. And again, because it's a horror movie, I haven't seen it, but everybody raves about Get Out. And then he also made them a film called Us. And so now he reimagines the summer movie with a new pop nightmare, this expansive horror pick that is called Nope. The film reunites Peele with Daniel Kaluuya. I'm sorry, I'm probably messing up his name. He's also joined by Keke Palmer. Stephen Yeun is also in this. And they're residents in a lonely gulch inland California town. And they bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. Again, don't know much about it, but have you seen the trailers? It looks super creepy. Nope is rated R by the Motion Picture Association for language throughout and some violence and bloody images. And my response to this film also is Nope. It's a pass for me. But we'll be anxious to hear if you go. Let me know if you go, and let me know if you enjoy it. So, as a recap, coming soon to theaters starting tomorrow, Where the Crawdads Sing, Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, The Gray Man, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. And then opening on Friday, July 22nd, next week, is Nope. All right, a couple of reviews for the episode today, and both of these films have already opened, so apologies for the delay. I finally saw Elvis, the biopic of Elvis Presley that was created by Baz Luhrmann, and overall, I really enjoyed Elvis. It is Baz Luhrmann, who has a very distinctive visual style, really created an interesting take on the life of Elvis Presley. And really, this is more about, I mean, it touches a bit on his childhood, but it's really more about when Elvis mania really starts to take over, in the 1950s. And it goes through his death in the 70s. And so it's told mostly from the point of view of Elvis's longtime manager, who was named Colonel Tom Parker. And Colonel Tom Parker, while he did get, Elvis, launched him and took him, really furthered his fame and career. But Tom Parker was also not a good guy. Compulsive gambler and all sorts of issues. And in a lot of ways, held Elvis back for his own selfish purposes too. And then poor Elvis, in a lot of ways, in this film, he's kind of portrayed as I think almost as a victim, because what was going on, Elvis's parents, didn't necessarily really have his back. And a lot of this stuff was also played, I think, to Elvis's worst impulses too. But anyway, you can see it and be your own judge. I think the main thing in this film are the performances are outstanding. Austin Butler, who plays Elvis Presley, he is Elvis Presley. He does such a fine job. Tom Hanks plays Colonel Tom Parker, and this, I think, has been controversial with people. Tom Hanks has to, puts on a lot of makeup, prosthetics and things. He has also kind of a wonky accent. At least I thought it was kind of a weird take on a Southern accent. But Tom Hanks is a very fine actor, and I thought it didn't necessarily bug me. I guess one thing that I've read with some criticism of it too, it's hard to see Tom Hanks play the villain, because this guy really ultimately is a villain. But anyway, it is what it is, and that's who got cast. Baz Luhrmann's signature style is really, I think, often really shines through this. Sometimes I almost think it almost needed maybe a little more style, but it was, it was very interesting. Probably my main complaint about this film is that it's just too long. It, it's close to 3 hours, and they cover a lot of material, I mean, hello, as we mentioned, it's like basically Elvis's entire career. But I don't know. It just that last hour for me was almost like a slog. I just kind of couldn't wait for it to be over. So that's probably my main complaint. But otherwise, a well-made and quite compelling take on Elvis Presley's life. Next up is the film Thor, Love and Thunder. Now for something completely different. This is, of course, comic movie it's from Marvel Studios, and it is a continuation, of course, of many many storylines that all intersect with each other in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Back in this film are, of course, Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Natalie Portman is back. Natalie Portman played the love interest in some of the previous Thor movies. She's a scientist. She's Dr. Jane Foster is her character. And then Christian Bale is in this film. He plays the villain called Gorr, Gorr. But anyway, this is a really interesting. I found it to be a very entertaining film. Particularly if you're if you like these Marvel, Marvel movies. Thor is contemplating kind of like his future, what he wants to do, and he gets pulled into another great Thor adventure here. Jane Foster, her character is having some health issues, and I'll try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. And she is drawn to go to Asgard, which is now, now on Earth, and she ends up wielding Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. If I'm saying it right, which turns her into a version of Thor, the mighty Thor. So you've probably seen the commercials. She's playing Thor too. So they work together to fight this Gore villain who is hell bent on killing all of the gods, all these mythological gods that live around the universe. So that's the setup. It's written and directed by Taika Waititi, and he directed Thor Ragnarok. So he's familiar with these characters. Taika Waititi has a very interesting style, and I think it's just one of the things you either like it or you don't. I quite like it. It's very goofy humor, and as you know, if you saw Thor Ragnarok, Taika Waititi also directed Jojo Rabbit. If you saw that film, of course that's not a Marvel film, but he was able to really in that film draw or combine comedy and making like Nazis funny as he did in Jojo Rabbit with a real poignancy or a real dramatic component to it as well. And I think that takes a lot of skill. I mean, to try to merge those different tonal elements within a film or within a screenplay. And I think that he's able to do that here very successfully in Thor, because Thor takes this movie takes, again, it's a comic book movie, but some serious stuff is happening with some of these characters, and I think he can take the goofiness of it and then merge it with this poignancy, and I think to very good results. I really enjoyed this film. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. I thought the first Thor movies that they made, well, I guess they were fine, but they were really serious. And so taking kind of a more humorous approach with Thor, I think has worked well. And Chris Hemsworth plays a really funny, male bimbo or a himbo, or whatever you want to call it. I think Chris Hemsworth has got some really great comedic chops. Natalie Portman's wonderful in this. I mean, she's such a good actress, and and she's got a pretty intense character arc in this film, or even just more what happens to her character, and she's great. The supporting cast is terrific, and if you like these comic book movies, I would highly recommend Thor: Love and Thunder. Classic Cinema Corner. Just something to note on your calendar, the upcoming July edition of the Turner Classic Movies Big Screen Classics screening. This month, they are screening a 50th anniversary commemoration, I guess, of Cabaret. So, Cabaret is the classic Broadway musical that was brought to the big screen 50 years ago, in 1972. But Cabaret is set in Berlin in 1931, and it follows the flamboyant American Sally Bowles, who in the film was played expertly by Liza Minnelli. Sally Bowles is a singer in a cabaret nightclub. She falls in love with a British academic who's played by Michael York, and then matters get complicated when a wealthy and decadent playboy enters the scene, and their love triangle plays out against the rise of the Nazi Party and the collapse of the collapse of Germany to it. So Cabaret is I think it's a classic film. It's of course a hard film to watch in that, again, it was, Taika Waititi can make the Nazis funny, but in this case it's all pretty serious and kind of scary, and I guess that's the point. But it's got great music in it, and just expertly directed. It's directed by Bob Fosse, and so he of course puts his stamp on it, and he's just, of course, it's an excellent film. Again, a hard film and a challenging film, but nonetheless a very good one. And then cool that you get a chance to see it on the big screen. Cabaret is going to be screening this Sunday, July 17th, and Wednesday, July 20th. So just those 2 days. And usually there's 2 screenings on each of those days, but you'll need to check your local listings. And check the Fathom Events website. It's fathomevents.com/TCM. I'll have a link to that in the podcast notes in my blog. So, a chance to see this 50th anniversary screening of Cabaret on the big screen on July 17th and again on July 20th. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Again, links and more information about the movies discussed in today's podcast can be found in the podcast notes on my blog at moviespastandpresent.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. Links are also on the blog. And follow me on Instagram. My handle is @moviespap. As always, I hope you'll enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, be safe out there and dedicate yourself to the truth.